Hello, Big Geordie Geek here, and it's time for this week's Wargamer news. Now, we were going to start the regular show last week, but we had a death in the family, and honestly, I wasn't really up to it. So I'm starting this week. The aim is to try and get this show out every Monday morning instead of Sunday night to give me time to actually make it. We'll start off as we need to go on. So we're going to start the show with Games Workshop news, and then we'll move on to other stuff. So we'll start off this week's Games Workshop news. We saw a new Titan for Adeptus Titanicus, the Dire Wolf Heavy Scout Titan. Basically a warhound, very much like the Nemesis. It's got a big weapon on top, some bolters on the side. We'll have to see what it looks like, but I'm quite excited about that. I love Titanicus, and yeah, that's very nice. Now, those of a certain age, possibly even young, I don't know, do kids today collect stickers? I don't know, but we remember collecting stickers, swapping on the playground, usually Premiership footballers. I used to get the new book every flip in the year, and it was, you try and complete it. I never actually ever completed one, you get your shinies, and oh, that was a money sink, wasn't it? I dread to think what they cost these days. But now Panini's bringing that experience to Warhammer 40k with a 204 Warriors of the Emperor sticker collection. It's really hitting the nostalgia twinge, and I'm not sure, maybe, but I've seen a few Discord groups starting to set up swap shops, which is quite interesting. I suppose these days you'd have to do that because we're adults, so we don't have a playground. So the big news in terms of Warhammer was the reveals at the LVO, and I think they hyped it up a bit much for what it was, but there are a bunch of new reveals. Now, the first was the revitalized Eldar range. You see, we've got it on screen there. A lot of the new models and some older ones in the background. We already saw the Warlocks earlier in the week, and they look quite well. I don't like the faces, but I like the helmets. They share that they don't look too radically different, but they do look quite cool. The Avatar of Cain actually leaked a couple of days early, and eventually Games Workshop showed it off, but looks beautiful, very tempting. I have a small Eldar army. I'm not adding to it. In fact, to be honest, I'm looking to get rid of it. To be honest, it's bad. It's not well painted, and I just don't enjoy playing it. But lots of customization options, including an axe and a spear, and lots of heads. We've already seen the Dark Reapers, but now we get to see the Phoenix Lords, Morgan Ra, who's getting a new model, which is really quite cool. So that's really nice. And the Shining Spears are going plastic. Now, I swore these got re-released a few years ago, but obviously they weren't plastic. But as I said, I'm not really a big Eldar player, so they look quite cool. I'm sure many people will be happy with them. I'd like to see some more Aspect Warriors at some point, because there's still a lot of that range, which is still fine cast, which isn't great. On the Age of Sigmar side, we're getting a new box set. Daughters of Cain and the Nighthaunt are going up against each other in Arena of Shades, which includes a new leader for both sides. The Nighthaunt gets Scriptum Mortis, which looks really cool. Benny, I'm saying that I collect Nighthaunt, and I love the Nighthaunt army, so that's going to be me. Then we're also getting the Craven Throne Guard. I don't have a photo of them, but that's a ranged unit, which is a little unusual for the Nighthaunt. They don't have a lot of ranged stuff. The Daughters are getting the High Gladiatorix. Must admit, I'm less keen on this one. I'm not sure. It just doesn't... it looks a bit too static for me, but I don't play Daughters, so nothing that's really going to interest me in that range, to be honest. Heresy fans were hoping for the new plastic box set, and there was a bit of disappointment online when it wasn't released. But guys, hold the faith. It's coming. It's coming. And we're getting Kabanda instead. Massive Demon of Khorne. Looks to be the size of an Acastus Knight. It's absolutely flipping huge. I mean, you see the Marine on his base there. It's unreal. Anyway, so yeah, that's really good. I don't think I'll get him because no, too big. I don't have room. And we've got a new logo teased. So rebranding the system as Warhammer: The Horus Heresy. So indicating that it looks like it's being very much brought into the main store. So hopefully we'll see more Warhammer: The Horus Heresy content going forward, which is cool. Eldar Corsairs are coming to Kill Team. And if the link was originally put up, suggested that they would be coming with the Chaos Space Marines, a Kill Team box set. So that'd be interesting. It's nice to see Kez introduced to Warhammer again. And we got a tease for Necromunda, the Ash Wastes. Kind of sounds like it might just be Gorka Morka, just with Necromunda gangs instead, but who's to say that's a bad thing? Another thing, and I don't think I have a picture of this one, the Games Workshop and the ITC have announced a tie-up to allow for results gained in Warhammer World tournaments to count towards your ITC scores. I'm sure competitive players will be very happy about this, whilst those of us who just play for fun will be like, okay, whatever. Next week's pre-orders have gone up now. It's the new Chaos Space Marines versus Eldar box set, Eldritch Omens. Just one existing model from the range now, unlike other box sets where it's like 1 or 2 new models and the rest is all old stuff. This is pretty much all new. The only thing in there is the Forge Fiend / Mauler Fiend, which is new. You get your Chaos Chosen. We haven't seen them in plastic since Dark Vengeance many years ago. A new what's the word? Dark, the Tech Marine. I can't remember the name now. I should have wrote it down. Eldar Autar, Rangers, and the Ranger bikes. So I must admit, I was tempted by this, but I'm only really interested in the Chaos Space Marines. So I'm gonna leave that myself. So moving on to non-Games Workshop stuff. Something I'd like to mention is Sludge. It's a cool little game from Metal King Studio. It encourages you to take historical minis, mix them with fantasy elements, medieval stuff, and create unique armies caked in mud and fight in a world inspired with grime, blood magic, and Napoleon. It's a great little game and really worth looking at. And it's now got its own range of miniatures from Blacksite Studios, the Kef, pictured here, which are really quite interesting, very unique. So it's absolutely something I want to give a try at some point. I guess this is sort of Games Workshop, but it's not. It's an RPG from another studio, but Wrath and Glory has been going from strength to strength, and now Cubal 7 have released a new book, Church of Steel, which focuses on vehicles within the game. I've already bought it myself, haven't had a chance to read through it, but yeah, Wrath and Glory, after a bit of a odd start under another studio, has really come into its own. It's been a good game. Now, light games are becoming very, very popular right now. One-page rule type of stuff, which is really cool. And a new one, which has sort of caught my eye this week, is John Hick's new sci-fi game Fireteam. Sees you taking up the role of specialists in a fire team of the Interplanetary Combine as they take on all sorts of nasty stuff out in the universe. Very much a mixture of a skirmish wargame and an RPG, and looks quite cool. I was thinking some of those hassle-free miniature models might work quite well with this, but then again, you could probably fit, well, you can, and that's the point. You can fit any models into this. It's a couple of dollars on Drive-Thru RPG at the minute, and I think I might pick that up when I get paid. Mantic's Armada game has gotten a new faction, the Salamanders, essentially the lizard men type faction. They've got a starter box, a booster, a big ship, and some flyers. Personally, I'm waiting for the Abyssal Dwarfs for this range myself. When we started the Hobby Studio podcast last year, I interviewed Ronnie Renton about this particular game, and he absolutely raved about it. I want it, but I'm waiting for the Abyssal Dwarfs. That's what I want, because when I was a kid, I had Chaos Dwarves as my Warhammer army until they got squatted, and I kind of want to have them again. So that is quite an interesting game, and definitely one that I think that's worth looking at. Ramshackle Games, they make a lot of cool models, very cool models, and they released some new vehicles which would fit very well into lots of sci-fi settings. So you've got your fire team before there, you can shove it into. And listeners of Age of Empire will know I'm going to suggest perhaps you could find it with heresy cults and militia armies. They've released the Daegu, pictured here, and the Reebok APC that you can see there, and some bikes as well, because bikes are cool. So that's quite cool. Now, if you are into games, you've probably heard of the phenomenon that is Exploding Kittens. I backed the original Kickstarter. I got both the original set and the Not Safe for Work set. It's a fun little game. Okay, it's not that meaty, but it's a nice little filler, and I enjoy playing it. The artwork is brilliant, and now they've released a 2-player set. So for those of you who don't have many friends, like myself, it's just £10, and yeah, I think I'll probably pick that up because it's nice to have 2-player games. And finally, our final bit of news for the week. If you like to read, then Black Library and Humble Bundle have you covered. They've teamed up to release a new bundle of EPUBs with 25 books for £13.26, which supports the Every Library Institute. Now, for those of you who don't know, Humble Bundles are basically, they're usually games, but they do books as well, and dev stuff, and all sorts of bits and bobs now. But they are basically a bundle of stuff. You get it, you pay your money, it's a pay what you want system. There's usually tiers, like you pay like the minimum of 73p, you get so much. In this instance, you get 6 books, including the Solar War, Ghoul Slayer, and Dark Harvest. And if you go above 13.26, you get 25 books, which is quite a lot. And some of them are quite recent as well, so definitely worth looking at. And the great thing about it is, a lot of that money goes to charity. I mean, the default configuration is some goes to the publisher, some goes to the Humble Bundle themselves for running the system, and some goes to the charity. I personally always like to tick mine up so the charity gets the absolute maximum and everyone else gets the minimum. But definitely worth looking at. It's for a good cause, and we all like a good read, don't we? Anyway, that's it for the show. If you have enjoyed it, leave a like. Subscribe, share, all those usual YouTuber calls to action that most of us ignore. Yeah, so I'll be back next week with this. All the links will be in the show notes. And yeah, just have a great weekend. Paint some awesome models. I'm planning to paint some Chaos Space Marines that I got with Warhammer Imperium. Not sure beyond that. I need to airbrush some Tau, but it's just getting time because I got very limited. I share my studio. You can see my wife's computer is just behind me there, and yeah, you can't see it because I've got the slide there. But yeah, my wife's work computer is just there, so I get very limited time that I would like to airbrush in here, and I need to airbrush some Tau. But yeah, I'll be streaming tonight as a release. I'll be just painting some models out. I'll probably do the Chaos Space Marines, and we will. Yeah, that's about it. So I will catch you next week. Have a good one, and paint, play, and do whatever you want that makes you feel good about this hobby.